What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hartz, and today I'll be breaking down the Thursday night football game between the Titans and the Cowboys. $500,000 up top to first place on DraftKings, so a bunch of money to be won. I'll be talking through my favorite captain plays, flex plays, and some plays to get different from the field to try and take down that $500K solo tomorrow. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Hartz. I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL, where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and value plays, and then I go more in depth in my free Patreon, which you can find linked down below. So make sure to hit that like button, as it does really help out my channel. Subscribe and turn that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. As always, make sure to follow me on Twitter at HartDFS. You can ask any questions, talk NBA, NFL, DFS. I put up my Patreon there. I put up my core plays, PrizePicks plays, all that good stuff you can find there. And the news to know for this Thursday night football game tomorrow is that, one, Dallas is favored by 12 points right now. It's a 40-game total, so Vegas doesn't expect it to be too high scoring. And Tennessee Titans, they have like 8 or 9 starters who are listed out. So it's going to be a very, very ugly game. I'm assuming the Dallas defense is going to be super popular in the captain position as well, just in the flex. I mean, they're super, super pricey right now. They're $5,800. So I'm assuming it's going to be one of those slates where it's going to be a chalky defense. It'll most likely work out because Malik Willis is on the other side. And he doesn't throw it a ton. And when he does, sometimes there's a huge chance of him throwing interceptions because they're going to be down in this game. So it's going to be one of those slates. So if you guys don't like that slate, if you don't like a super chalky, terrible game, then I suggest avoiding this or just playing super light and just getting, super contrarian and just hopefully, it goes your way because it's just not going to be a good game tomorrow with Tennessee pretty much playing all their B guys. So in terms of the breakdown, the captain spots, I think I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans guys and just get a little bit riskier that way. I'm assuming that obviously it's going to be a little bit chalky, especially Malik Willis. I'm sure he'll get some ownership, but for the Dallas side, if you're looking for some captain plays, it really just comes down to ownership on who people are getting to. I'm assuming that the chalkiest ones on the Dallas side are going to be that Cowboys defense. I'm sure they'll get like 20 plus, not 20, but I'd say maybe 15 to 20% owned in the captain, if not more. But we'll have to wait and see for that. And then we're going to get, the top 4 most optimal, I'd say, are going to be, where is he? Tony Pollard is number 1. He's questionable, but he should be good to go. Maybe they'll limit him. I'm not sure. It's also one of those games where if Dallas gets up like 30-0 at halftime, they could definitely rest all their starters the second half. So it could just be a very funky game tomorrow. So just definitely keep that in mind. But Tony Pollard obviously is going to be probably the chalkiest captain on this Dallas side, followed by, I'd say, maybe the Cowboys defense, and then CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott tied. I'd say Dak would probably be a little bit higher on the CeeDee Lamb. And then I'd say Zeke is a 4th. If you're looking for like pivot plays off of that, you could definitely go to a Gallup and Schultz. Schultz will be a little bit safer. He does have a decent ceiling. 19 fantasy points is the best game he's had so far this season. But, that could work out. As I said, it could be that game where they go up 30-0 and then they rest all the starters. And, if Dalton gets like 15 fantasy points, that could definitely be the most high scoring on the Dallas side. So it's just going to be a funky and weird slate tomorrow. So you could definitely get weird, throwing Gallup in the captain spots or a guy like Schultz. They really need touchdowns. They're not going to get there just based on yards and receptions alone unless this game stays close, because Dallas really needs to win it to try to. I think they still have a chance, with the Eagles to win the division. So they have a lot to play for this game. So yeah, that's kind of my take with the whole Dallas side. Obviously, it's going to be super popular to play like 4 Dallas guys, 2 Tennessee Titan guys, or it's going to be a 5 Dallas guys, 1 Tennessee Titans stack. I like the opposite in terms of like the captain plays. For me, the captain plays I'm going to go to are probably going to be Malik Willis or 8,600. So we'll throw him in there for right now. Where'd he go? Take off Dallas. 12-9 for Malik Willis. We know he's not going to throw the ball a ton, but this should be that game where he has to, because most likely will be down a few scores. And he has huge upside when he comes to rushing the ball, as we saw versus Houston, 7 for 43 and a touchdown. That alone, his rushing upside makes him a very, very solid optimal captain. And we know that I'm assuming he'll get some ownership. But the reason why I like him is they don't have Tannehill. Obviously, he's out. They're not going to go to one of their backup quarterbacks. So Malik Willis is going to play the whole game. They're going to see what they get from him. They're going to let him air out the ball. He's going to run. So I really just like the rushing upside there for him. And then him just, throwing passes, maybe getting passing touchdown, maybe 2 in garbage time. I think that just leads him to be a very, very optimal captain. I'm sure he'll get some ownership. I'm not sure if he'll be super popular just because people are going to want to stack those Dallas guys. But yeah, it could definitely get out of hand. It can definitely hurt the upside for this Dallas guy. So I like going with Malik Willis as my captain for tomorrow. And then in terms of other guys to pair with him, you could definitely run him naked since he is a mobile quarterback and he can easily get there alone just with his rushing upside. But in terms of, guys to pair with him, I think my favorite is going to be Treylon Burks, another young guy who's had some decent games. He's coming off of a concussion, only saw 2 targets. Maybe they limit him. We haven't got that news, but he should be good to go. I like playing him with Malik Willis. They'll see what they have in both of them, see if they can start developing a connection for next year. So I like pairing Burks with Willis. You can definitely go to like a Robert Woods. You can go to Okonkwo. He's been solid with some huge breakout receptions. Westbrook Ikine is there. I mean, they're going to have to pass the ball a good amount. Obviously, Derrick Henry's doubtful. So this offense is going to be just decimated. With Derrick Henry's doubtful, we're going to see guys like Haskins and Hilliard. Hilliard's on IR. So we're going to see Haskins as a main running back at 3,000 going against a tough Dallas defense. I don't mind putting him, playing him because he's going to see, even if this game gets out of hand, he's going to play. They're just going to have to play these guys because they don't have much. So I think these 3 would be my favorite on the Titans side. I mean, all 3 young guys, they're all going to see a ton of touches. And yeah, I think the Titans are just going to let them run and see what happens. And if they lose by 40, they lose by 40 because it doesn't really matter what happens with this game. The Titans still can win with the game next week. So right now, I think it's just the Titans are just going to see what happens. If they, they win, then good. But it doesn't really affect them in terms of the playoffs for next week. It just all comes down to if they win next week. So this game is kind of just a write-off for them. So I do think they're going to try out different sets. You just give guys like Burks and Haskins a ton of touches just to see what they get from them. Don't think there's a need to get the Titans defense. You can get to guys like a Hooper or the kickers. But right now, I'm just going to stick with the guys who should see the most volume in Malik Willis, Burks, and Haskins. And then for, going back to the Dallas side, from there, I mean, Dak, he's pretty much been the whole offense. Even when the running backs have a huge game, Dak's still been able to put up like 15 plus fantasy points. So I think I'm going to throw him in there. And then to fill out the rest of this lineup, you can definitely throw Zeke or CD in there. Dak's favorite target, has huge upside. You can definitely throw him in there, and then you have 67 left over. You can get to a Schultz. You can pay for the Cowboys defense if you want to. Obviously, it's not the best correlation playing Cowboys defense with, Malik Willis and the captain, Burks and Haskins. But all it takes is one defensive touchdown to pay off the Cowboys defense at 5,800, even if they're super high owned. So you can look to that, or you can fade them. Right now, I'm just going to throw them in the lineup, be a chalk donkey, and play them. But you get 900 left over. If you want to use that lineup, sure you can. Maybe let's get a little bit different. Maybe you want to go with the Dallas side. Let's say a Tony Pollard in the captain, which will be pretty popular. You can go with him. If he's in the captain, most likely, he's going to catch a few passes. He's seen a bunch out of the backfield, 5+ targets past 3 games. He's seen the touches as well. So we know he's huge, big playability. Dak Prescott is looking to him out of the backfield as well. So we can throw him in there. We can pair him with Dak. You can get a little bit different here. Zeke's gone for a touchdown or more in like 10 straight games. Not really sure if TD variance is going to keep up for this next game, especially if they blow him out. But you can definitely look to Zeke, get a little bit different from the field by playing both running backs. It's become a little bit more popular just with how much they both play, and they've been, pretty much evenly split every other series. And they've both been playing well. So, I mean, it's usually a pretty contrarian way to get different from the field is play both running backs. But yeah, I'm sure I'll pick up some ownership this week with people doing that. But you can definitely do that. And then obviously to get back on the Tennessee side, I think Malik Willis is pretty much a must play for this slate tomorrow. Just because of that rushing upside. I mean, the only quarterback. It's really going to be hard for him to fail unless he goes out there and, just they get blown up by 40 and he only throws up like 100 passing yards and like 50 rushing yards. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I think he's a little bit better than that, but it's definitely there, definitely possible. So I just think it's going to be a super weird slate. To fill out the rest of this lineup, we could go to 4,100 left over. You can go to a Haskins if you wanted to. You can go to one of the kickers. Like you can go to the Tennessee kicker in Bullock, 4,200 left over. You can go to, Haskins, or let's just go Haskins here, 3,000, 5,200 left over. You can get to Okonkwo, Robert Woods. Let's just go to Okonkwo there. So I just don't like the feeling of the slate tomorrow, so I'm going to be playing super lights. Just going to go with my boy, Malik Willis at captain, and then just kind of go from there. In terms of like core plays right now, I'd say it's going to be Malik Willis for me as a captain. I think it's going to be Dak as on the opposite side. And then another core play, probably going to be Burks. And then, yeah, I think right now, these are my 3 core plays. I'm going to go with Malik Willis, captain, Dak as a flex, and then Treylon Burks in the flex as well. Obviously, you're going to want to pair Dak with, either a pass catcher or a running back. You can get riskier by going with like a Dalton Schultz, a Gallup, Noah Brown, maybe even Tyreek Hill. I don't think there's a need to do that, but you could definitely do that. It's there. And as I said, this is going to be just a super weird slate, most likely tomorrow, just with how many different directions it can go. Unlike most Thursday night football games where, you kind of know what you're getting in terms of a game. This one's going to be just super weird, wild, just with how, it's all like the Tennessee backups. Dallas still needs to win this game. So they need to play competitively. And if they go up 30, it can definitely change everything. They could sit Zeke. They could, bring in the backup tight ends and running backs and wide receivers. So it's just going to be a super weird and funky slate. So I hope this helps with like the core plays of Malik Willis, the captain, Dak as a flex, and the Treylon Burks. And then from there, you only have 3 other options. You guys can kind of, go your own route. And yeah, if you guys like the video, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next slate breakdown, which should be coming out Saturday for the NFL Sunday slate.